Hi, it's Matt from Go Green Autos. So here we have a BMW i3 for sale. This is a early 2017. It's a 94 amp hour range extender. So BMW refer to their batteries in amp hours, which is a bit confusing because everyone else uses kilowatt hours. So this is a 33 kilowatt hour battery pack, and as you probably noticed here, it's got a second flap on the wing, so that means it is the range extender model. So what the range extender is underneath the back here, underneath the boot floor. The electric motor's under here anyway, so these are rear wheel drive, and then on this side you have a small petrol engine which is just a generator. It doesn't drive the car directly, it doesn't drive the wheels, it just produces electricity and charges the battery while you're driving. So that kicks in when the battery gets to 6% state of charge, and that extends your range. So ideally you don't use it because obviously you don't want to be burning petrol and producing emissions, but these are very handy if you're late at night and you don't want to stop and charge and you just want to get a few extra miles to drive home. I've done that with these, and rather than stopping at charge I've just driven on petrol. Or if you want to push it a bit further and go to the next services, to the next charger with a battery electric, it gives you serious range anxiety because there's a chance that you might run out before you hit the charger, where obviously with a range extender you just start burning petrol and you can go, well, endless amounts of miles depending on how much fuel you've got in, but you can fill up and continue driving on electric if needed. But obviously it's there as an emergency backup. I've been driving EVs now for 4 years and I don't get range anxiety. I'm quite happily push an EV to 0 miles or beyond. But I must say, driving a range extender, it does give you that nice peace of mind, that reassuring feel that if you pull up to a charger and for some reason you can't charge and you want to drive a bit further to the next one, you're not going to get stuck with one of these. You can just keep driving, and that is very, very reassuring. So the reason why I've got these in is they're now old enough that they're coming off the leases, because all cars are financed when they're new, and typically cars are financed for 3 years, and these are now getting 3 years old, these bigger battery ones, and they're now just coming out of the initial finance agreements with the owners, and that's exactly where I got this from. It's come direct from Alphabet Finance, who is that's BMW Finance. And also Leafs, 33 kilowatt hour Leafs. I've just sold one, a Techno model, same age as this, for 15 grand. So for an extra 4.5 grand you can now buy one of these, and it's got the advantage, firstly it's a BMW, secondly they drive so much nicer. They are really fun to drive, and you've got the range extender, and then maybe fourthly is the styling. Leafs are a pretty ugly car. Some people don't like the styling of these. These are very quirky, but the reason is because these were designed from a clean piece of paper as an electric car, so they're just unconventional. You could almost say they've redesigned the wheel as well, because these have got 19-inch wheels. They're huge wheels, but they are very skinny, so they've got a very low rolling resistance. They also don't aquaplane when you hit water, which is quite nice. And they've just done everything differently. If you don't know what these cars are, they are made on an aluminium frame. The battery pack sits on the floor, so it's a proper skateboard design, so you've got a proper flat floor, which you don't get in a Renault Zoe or a Nissan Leaf, and both of those were designed as EVs, but they follow the normal convention with an engine up front. They have a battery pack in the sills, but they've still got transmission tunnels because they put equipment from the charging equipment, that sort of thing, in there, and engine up front, or motor should I say, up front, whereas the i3 completely different. They're rear wheel drive, and why wouldn't they be rear wheel drive if you're starting from scratch? Proper flat floor, and they're made of this reinforced plastic with carbon fibre. So it's a carbon fibre tub. It's very, very light, very strong. That's why Formula 1 racing cars are made of it. And because of that, and because it's so strong, you don't need a B pillar here. So you get this unusual door design where the rear doors are hinged at the back, but it means when you're getting in, there's no pillar to get in your way. You can tilt the seat forward to get in, but to be honest, you don't need it. You can get in so easily in the back. So yeah, very clever design. There's no steel in this car. It's very light, which is why you get very good economy on these. All the panels are plastic. The roof is also carbon fibre effect, a reinforced plastic. And you've got these unusual, very large wheels, but very narrow. And up front, very little bonnet, and also you'll notice the wheels are right in the corner of the car, so very little overhang, and you have a storage trunk, a fruit, or a frunk, or a fruit as they now say. These are sort of new words that come into language because of Teslas, but there's a little storage compartment up front as well. So yeah, very unusual car, really nice to drive, very sporty, very fast, and you get a lot of feedback, so they really do feel like a BMW to drive. So the purpose of these videos primarily is to show you the condition, and then I'm very detailed. I point every little thing I can find, because that gives people the confidence to buy the vehicles without viewing them first, and it allows people to buy them from long distances away, and then I deliver the vehicle to them. And majority of vehicles go out like that. Most people don't come in view because of these detailed videos I make. So I will start here. Firstly, this is a 3-year-old car that's done 32,000 miles, but it is in fantastic condition, which is why I bought it. You know, you genuinely wouldn't get a car in this sort of condition that's done a few miles. The alloy wheel there, absolutely mark free, no curbing at all, which is quite unusual because these have got a very low profile tyres. There's no stone chips or dents along the sides to point out. There's a couple of stone chips on the front which I'm going to show you, but it's genuinely mark free. Again, alloy wheel is immaculate. Tyres are all very good as well. I'm just about to put a new tyre on the back as well. Looking around the back, the only thing I would point out, which is very minor, and all BMW i3s get this, is there's a little bit of scratching here at the top of the bumper where stuff gets put in and out the boot, and it's because they've done this in gloss black, and as you probably know, anything that's black, and particularly gloss, shows every little mark. So they're very minor scratching. We can only just about feel it. There's a couple there and a couple there, but all BMW i3s get that. You cannot put stuff in and out without scratching the back, but it is very minor. While I'm here, I'll also just show you that we've got the first aid kit, and this one comes with 2 charging cables. As standard, all i3s get this portable charger, often called a granny cable. The 3-pin plug is hiding here, there it is. So you can charge the car on a normal 3-pin socket. i3s from BMW don't come with Type 2 charging cables, and nor did this one. So I've supplied here a brand new charging cable, and this is a proper 3-phase, nice and thick charging cable, because the AC charging on these is actually 11 kilowatts. So if you just use the standard 32 amp charging cable, you will only charge at 7.5 kilowatt, which is fine for the majority of charging. Certainly at home, that's all you can charge at anyway, and most destination charges and a lot of sort of charges you'll get in car parks and supermarkets, things are only 7 kilowatt anyway. But occasionally you do get 3-phase charging in public charging posts. So you occasionally get a 11 kilowatt charger, or sometimes 22 kilowatt charging. Often on rapid chargers as well, they'll be able to deliver 22 kilowatt. And if you've got a charging post that is 3-phase, you need a 3-phase cable, because it uses the extra pins to take advantage of that. So this car will charge at 11 kilowatt if the charger can deliver that, and if you've got the right cable, of course. So you get both cables with this car. Looking around the back, you've got parking sensors there as well down low. There's no marks at all down low on the bumper. That alloy wheel is all mark free. There isn't a dent, a scratch or anything along this side. And that alloy wheel all looks good. I thought there was a little bit of marking on one of the alloys. No, and it's not on those two. Maybe it was just dirt, because I've just washed this and there isn't a mark on that now. So yeah, all looks fine. And then round the front, again, it's remarkably tidy. There isn't a stone chip or mark on this front bumper, not even down low. All there are is a couple of stone chips in the bonnet, but I've dabbed a bit of black paint. There's one there, 2, 3 there, 4 there, and there was one round here somewhere, very minor, and that's it. I've dabbed a bit of black paint, as I said, but these are all the panels are plastic, so it's not going to rust. And because they're plastic, actually, when a stone hits these, they tend to dent a little bit more because it takes a little scuff out the plastic, and you tend to, when you get a stone chip, you tend to get sides to the hole, as it were, whereas you often don't on a steel panel. But then, you know, it's pretty minor. But yeah, yes, that alloy wheel is all good. So yes, all the alloys are completely mark free, and it's just an immaculate car. So looking on the inside now, then I'll open up both doors. You really wouldn't know this was a 3-year-old car. The interior is absolutely immaculate, as is the driver's seat, well, all the seats and door cards, everything is just in lovely condition. Nice thing about these i3s is you get a lot of mix of different materials and shapes and angles. It's quite nice to look at. You've got sort of leather effect on the door, the armrest here, different material here. You've then got this, it's actually a plant-based material here, recycled effect material in the rest of the door card, also on the top of the dash. Huge door bins as well. Your grab handle is up here, your handle's here. It's just very interesting to look at, and it's a really nice place to sit in. And the other thing to note, i3s are only 4-seater, so 2 seats in the back, and then you get the cup holders there, so there isn't seat belts for a 5th passenger. And then just to show you around on this side, again, it's all mark free and scratch free, and the seats and the carpets, it's all just immaculate. And then you've got a glove box up here, and I'll just show you the back on this side. It's all just pristine. I'll just show you the charging. So on the side here at the rear, you've got the charging flap, and then this is your AC charging. It's 11 kilowatt, as I said, and this is your CCS port. So this is your DC rapid charging, and it charges up to 50 kilowatt. And then you have this nice light that lights all the way around, and it lights up white, yellow, blue, green and red, depending on the status and what the charging situation is. So here we have the petrol filler cap. So this has got the range extender, and as I said, you have a little petrol engine on the back axle there underneath the boot, and that's a 647cc 2-cylinder petrol engine that they use in the BMW moped, and that doesn't drive the wheels, that just drives a generator which charges the battery, and you do that while you're driving. So that kicks in as default. It kicks in when the battery is low and it gets to 6%, and it will maintain that charge at 6% while you're driving. But there's also a setting you can set on the screen that you can turn on your range extender earlier. So for example, if you're driving into a city where you want to drive zero emission in the city, you could drive on petrol or switch on the range extender and charge while you're driving if you're bombing down the motorway to get into the city where you're less worried about the pollution, and then it gives you maximum range to drive in the city and proper zero emission. But primarily it's there just as an emergency backup to extend your range if you haven't been able to charge. And that engine at the back, it's just a little moped engine. It runs at a very efficient high RPM because it is just charging the battery, so it's not driving the wheels. And it also, you can't tell when it kicks in and out. It is so smooth and quiet, and you genuinely can't tell when you're driving that the range extender is kicked in. But also when you come to a stop, the engine stops as well, so you still have the proper silent EV feeling that when you're stopped at a junction, everything is super quiet and smooth. So yes, great little system, and it just does away with range anxiety. And then at the front, we can open up the bonnet with a button there on the key, and at the front here we have a little storage compartment that you can put your charge cables in. It's not waterproof. As you can see, it's all a bit mucky because the water and muck does all get up here. For some reason BMW haven't made this front compartment waterproof. It's just, you know, your traditional engine bay almost. So, you know, you really want to stick things in plastic bags. But in here we've got the toolkit, the locking wheel nut, your towing eye, and this is your puncture repair kit and your safety triangle. And then under these flaps we have all the other stuff, like your 12-volt battery sits at the back there, and you've got your washer fluid and everything. And then if I jump in, the stop start button here is up on the gear change binnacle up here. So if I put my foot on the brake and push the stop start button, the car boots up, and this is your gear selector, a little toggle switch where you rock it forward to put it into drive or rock it backwards to put it into reverse. If I just put it into reverse now, we'll see we've got the parking sensor screen, and put it into drive. That will then turn off, but I'll put it into park now. And then up here on the screen we can see our estimated range. Of course, it's very much an estimate with range meters. It depends on the efficiency of how you're driving, because obviously if you drive fast, your efficiency is going to drop and your estimated range will drop. So it very much does depend on outside temperature and also how you're driving, your driving style. But as you can see here, I've been getting an average of 4.1 miles per kilowatt hour, which isn't bad for the cold weather we've been having recently. But actually, I was driving this to London. I drove, you know, I'm over near Abingdon, Oxford, and I drove to Staines and back on Friday, and I got there and back on a full charge. But it was all motorway driving, so 4.1 driving at motorway speeds. It was busy, so it wasn't particularly a high speed. Because it was a Friday night on the M40, round the M25, back round the M25 and back up. I came back on the M4 because it was so busy. So yeah, 4.1 is pretty good. These cars can be extremely efficient. So the miles, it's estimating at 126 miles. So what I'm finding with the 33 kilowatt hour ones is I'm getting around the 125 mile mark in the winter with the heating on, which is pretty good. However, it is very easy to drive these too fast because they are very fast. So when I have driven these like I've stolen it with the heating on as well, the range has still been 101, 105 miles, which is still very good considering that was very poor driving. So in the summer you're going to get 140, 150 miles out of these. And then the second little gauge here is showing the range extender, and we've got just over half a tank full and it's saying 45 miles. But I found, again, this is corresponding to economy. So when you're driving more efficiently, you're going to get more range from the range extender as well, because the range extender is only charging the battery. And I found you can get up to 100 miles on fuel as well. But obviously you can keep filling it up, and that side is almost endless because it only takes 2 minutes or so to fill it up with fuel. And then the rest of the vehicle, we've got the heating system here. We've got the controls for the heating, controls for the screen all down here. We've got different drive modes. Standard drive mode is called Comfort, and then we have an Eco Pro and an Eco Pro Plus. Just like all cars, when you put it in Eco mode, it dulls the power to the motor a little bit, which stops you accelerating quite so fast, which extends range. It also dulls the power to the heating system because that uses a lot of energy, and it limits your top speed a little bit. In this case, on these cars, it limits it to 75 miles an hour, which is more than adequate. And when you put it into Eco Pro Plus, what it does is limits your top speed even further. I think the default is 56 mile an hour, but you can change that on the screen. You can set what that speed should be. It completely turns off your air conditioning and heating system, and it also turns off your heated seats, and that extends your range even further. So this car does come with 2 keys, and then I've got the logbook here. As I said, it's come from Alphabet Finance, and the registration date is the 1st of the 3rd 2017. So this vehicle is tax-free. That's the other thing you've got to be careful of when you're looking at BMW i3s, because any i3 registered after the 1st of April 2017 could have you could have to pay road tax. If it's a range extender, you definitely have to pay road tax under the new rules. So a range extender model, you have to pay £135 a year road tax, and a normal battery electric one you don't. I'm just going to check my notes so I got that right. Yeah, £135. However, if it has got a few extras and the list price, the original list price, was over £40,000, you've then got to pay an additional £320 a year for 5 years, and that starts at year 2. So it means a more highly spec'd range extender i3, you've got to pay £455 a year to tax it, and that's catching people out. So while this model is completely tax-free anyway, because it's registered just before the date in the tax rules, so it's registered 1st of the 3rd 2017, so it's a month before they change the rules, so this is always tax-free. You'll get one of these that will be a month newer, and if it's got some extras on, because these BMWs has a wide list of extras you can have in different interior worlds, as they call them, it's very easy that the list price can be over £40,000. If you get one with the Pro navigation, the leather interior, and let's say the sports pack where you have LED front headlights and different alloy wheels, you could find that that car has a list price over £40,000, and then you're going to have to pay £455 a year tax. So you have to be a bit careful when looking at i3s, but as I said, this one is completely tax-free. And then in here we have the user manual. You don't get service books with i3s because it is all electronic and it's all on the dash. So let me just stop it, and then when it starts it tells you there on the dash that the next inspection service is due the 3rd of the 2020. But if I just have a look on my phone, because you have a nice app with these cars. Here's the app looking at this car, and I can go to info and we can look here at the servicing. So the next vehicle inspection is due 2020-03. The next brake fluid is due 2021-02. Vehicle check 2021-02. Engine oil, that's for the range extender, 2021-02. We've got confirmation there of the mileage, and we've got confirmation here of the range. So the oh, look at it saying 112. It hasn't updated because up here it's saying 127 miles. But yes, the app's quite nice. On the app you can locate the vehicle, you can set the preconditioning. So what that does is it turns on the heater or the air conditioning in the winter or summer and preconditions the car. The other thing to note on these is the BMW i3 actually has heating on the battery pack as well as cooling. Like most EVs have cooling on the battery pack, unless of course it's a Nissan Leaf and you don't get anything. But on these you've also got heating, so in the winter if you set the preconditioning, either just toggle it on the app or set a timer, so you can set a calendar, a schedule. So in the morning, if you're going to work every day in the morning, you would set it up in the schedule that this will come on and precondition the car. It actually not only warms the cabin, but it also warms the battery pack for extended range, and it also obviously helps with the life of your battery pack. So there's not many EVs that actually have warming on the battery pack as well as cooling. And then up here on your infotainment screen we've got DAB radio. You've got media where you can stream from your phone. You've obviously got telephone. We've got sat nav, and you've got lots of different options for controlling the car. That's all under the menu there. If we go to settings, there's lots of stuff you can do. Yeah, and as I said, you've got these driving modes. So if I go back and I've got to turn the car on to get the driving modes, that would help, wouldn't it? And you have standard, you then have Comfort, Eco Pro. Comfort is called standard. It really should be called Sport, really. But anyway, and then you've got Eco Pro Plus, where it limits your speed even more and turns off all the heating. And then your range is adjusted accordingly. So in Eco Pro Plus, it's estimating we've got a range of 140 miles on the battery pack there. Eco Pro 136, and in standard mode 127. And also the range extender range goes up accordingly as well. So yeah, nicely spec cars. You have, as standard, you've got heated seats on both front seats. They get particularly hot as well, hotter than any heated seats I've ever seen. You get cruise control, you get voice control, electric windows. There's no electric windows in the back doors. You've got automatic light wipers, automatic lights, and DAB radio, as I said. And then down here we've got a armrest, and then we've got USB aux in and a cigarette lighter 12-volt socket port. So yeah, everything you would expect. A nice flat floor. You also get a bit of elastic there that you might want to put something in. I don't know, maybe a small handbag or something. 2 cup holders. This cup holder can click out, and you can attach it down there in the storage box if you want to put it there. And you can also attach other cup holders. You can buy extra ones of these, and you can put 3 here as well. It's all very nice. And huge amount of room. These cars feel really spacious inside because they got the flat floor, and they're just well designed. They feel absolutely huge inside. A very large storage pockets there on the doors as well, and really good visibility. Absolutely huge windscreen. They just feel far more spacious than what they look like they're going to be from the outside. One other thing to note on the BMW i3 is you have frameless doors. So if I drop the window down, you've got frameless doors as well, which is quite nice. So just to recap, this is an immaculate i3. It's a 33 kilowatt hour one with the range extender. It's also in this nice metallic blue, not that you can really see it well today because of the low winter sun and very strong shadows, but this is a new colour for 2017. Previously this colour was only available on the i8, and now available on the i3, so you'll find a lot of 2017 cars are in this colour because it was newly available. This one, as I said, is tax-free as well, so that's a huge benefit. And you've got the 2 charging cables, so you've got the AC charging cable. This one's also got the upgraded 3-phase cable, so if you're on a public charging post that happens to be a 3-phase one, you can charge this at 11 kilowatt. But you've also got the granny cable, the 3-pin plug charger, so you can charge this on a normal socket. It does take longer when you're charging on that cable because you can only draw 10 amp, but it will always be charged by the morning. But when you've got an electric car, ideally you get a home charger installed, and that allows you to charge the car at 32 amps, so it charges very much quicker. Those home chargers typically cost somewhere around £300 to £600 to get installed. You do get a government grant of £500 towards the cost, and that's the resulting price, around £300. The installer will claim that grant on your behalf. They take about 2 to 3 weeks to get installed, so obviously in the meantime you've got that portable charger there in the boot that you can charge this on a normal 3-pin plug. So this car is ready and available to go. As I said, I could deliver these all over the country. There is a cost involved in that, so let me know your postcode and I will let you know the delivery cost. And this will come on a flatbed and it will be fully charged and ready to use.